Well, well, well. Been a long time since I had a Nazi in my chair. Welcome, Hans.
Do your worst, American. I am loyal to mein Führer.
Oh, we'll see how loyal you are when I'm done with you. It says here you've done a little bit of interrogation yourself, huh? Buchenwald? Lichtenberg? Pretty nasty business, Hans.
I followed orders. My life belongs to Germany.
Maybe. Maybe it does. Maybe it belongs to me. What did you do to those poor bastards, huh? What did you use? Electricity? Acid? Huh? A little acid in the eyes?
I did what I had to do, Schwein.
Oh, sure. Extreme times call for extreme measures. Believe me, I understand. You'll understand exactly how much I understand pretty soon. We're not so different, you and I. What did you use? Hydrochloric acid? Stinky stuff. The smoke from acid on flesh. Well, you can see what it does to the walls. Impossible to clean.
Your concentration is too high, fool. You need a 30% dilution.
Oh, yeah? With what, water?
No, idiot. With acetone, it flattens the burn, and you have less waste in evaporation.
Interesting. That's very interesting. And have you ever used battery acid? We've had some good results crossing shock torture with acid burns. Like car batteries supply both, so it's a pretty easy pack-in.
Yeah, electricity is good if you just want to torture, but it addles the brain, so it's not as reliable if you're extracting information. A good one is to electrocute the spouse or the children. That actually works to get basically whatever you want out of the subject.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I think you're exactly what we're looking for, Hans.
Is this, are you going to torture me?
What? No, you're perfect. We want to hire you. We've got a competitive benefits package available.
Oh, really? Well, I did some work on some rockets too. You guys maybe want to go to space a little bit?
Fantastic. Yeah, that's exactly what we've been working towards. A little torture, a little rockets.
Well, in that case, you're going to have to reach out to my agent for a quote. I only work at 6% market scale.
Yeah, that's not bad. 6% we can work with. Do you think we can talk him down to 4.5?
Depends on what we do. Can I still do some torture and some rocket stuff?
Yeah, no, you can pretty much pick your hours, and we've got dental.
Oh, that's nice. I need my teeth worked on. Welcome back, Subversives, to Delete Everything Podcast, our dark, dingy basement full of secrets where we are going to chemically alter your brain and condition you to forget all the things you think you know, and we will implant the knowledge that we want you to have. Knowledge of forgotten, omitted, deleted, and partial histories. I am Agent Patrick Wall. With me, as always, is psychotherapist and hypnotist
Riley Bowen.
And we've got our patient here, unwilling and non-consenting, Drew Bolby. Our producer Drew's hanging out with us on mic.
Yo!
So before we jump into this meaty bitch, huge thanks to those of you who took a moment to review us, rate us, comment on Spotify. It takes balls, man. It takes solid, dangly clackers. And if you haven't done so yet, boy, we sure would love it if you would. Get on whatever you're listening to and give us 5 stars. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Audible, a review would be awful swell too. That boosts us big time on charts and algorithms, things of that nature. So if you're on Spotify, you should leave us a comment on this episode or any of them, really, and any of them that you like. We've got Instagram for photos on this or any of the other episodes. We also have a few other like silly photos and videos on there. And lastly, if you're just loving this shit, you're out of regular main feed episodes to listen to, you've binged all, 100-ish hours of Delete Everything podcast, and you need more. Boy, have I got some news for you. We have got 40 more episodes on Patreon. Every single week we drop a short episode on Patreon, and we have some pretty unbridled fun up in there. So that whole backlog of episodes plus new ones every week, and that costs less per month than what you'd pay if you went and got, lunch from Mickey D's right now, which is a pretty solid deal.
Yeah.
Especially considering our Patreon listeners are about to get a bunch of free Delete Everything podcast stickers. We're about to send all those. It's like our first swag.
Yeah.
So listen, maybe you don't want to do any of that shit, right? Maybe you're not a review person or a leave a comment person. Maybe you're like, I'm not joining their fucking Patreon. That's, I don't know, one whole Big Mac I don't get to eat this month. Do us a favor.
Just call our fucking listeners fat pigs. Is that what that is?
No, our
Man,
Patreon.
one fucking Big Mac. You don't get to munch
I just said our
Patreon.
Patreon. I just said our Patreon listeners are skinny and the people who aren't are fat. No, I'm kidding. I just said our Patreon costs less than what it would cost for you to go to Mickey D's right now and get lunch.
Less than your average cup of coffee.
Yeah.
If you get like a triple cream mocha latte espresso.
Anyway, it's $8. But yeah, maybe you're just like, maybe you're not one of those people. So do me a fucking favor. If you're listening, if you've been listening for multiple episodes and you genuinely love the show, you are, by the way, absolutely, undoubtedly on the ground floor with us. We probably don't need to say this out loud, but like, we're pretty small potatoes in the podcast game right now. So we're not even out of our first year. We have a great fucking following for our first year podcast, but we're still trying to hit like that 1,000 downloads a month mark, right? What we do though is we regularly listen to other podcasts that have been around a lot longer and get way more downloads than we do. And, it's pretty obvious they haven't put the time or honestly the money into sounding as professional. They don't do all the silly little sketches and sound design that we do. They don't do the research that we did. And that's totally fine. I'm not knocking anybody for doing their thing.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah. We do this because we love
We're
it.
the best podcast.
Another one. We do this because we love it. It's a blast for us. We have something to constantly look forward to. And we want it to be a great product because we're not really into half-assing things. None of us are. So our whole ass is in this every single fucking week. So the favor I want to ask is just tell people about us. Your friends, your family, your coworkers, particularly if they like podcasts, particularly if they like comedy, particularly if they have even a marginal interest in obscure history. If you like it and they like you, they'll probably like us. So that keeps this whole thing growing. The community is larger. It's more fun. And you've got funny, interesting shit to talk about to those people, right? So it just ends up being more of a blast for all of us. That's it. That's my whole rant. I haven't done one in a while. So we don't need to talk about our weeks. Let's just fucking jump in, right? Is that cool?
Works with me, yeah.
I mean, unless something crazy happened.
I haven't worked a full shift in 2 weeks. It's been great. That's all I want to say.
I took a couple of days off of work because I had a house guest.
Okay, so nothing crazy.
No, nothing
right.
wild.
Awesome. Let's fucking jump in, right? Sweet baby fuck, do we have an intense one for you this week? And this one's going to be a two-parter, so we're hopefully going to find like the perfect stopping point, and you can come back for the second part next Monday because this is a very deep one. It's honestly, this is one of those where even finding a starting point is tricky. Like, I could keep going further and further with things that intersect and lead up to this program. And this program is one of the darker stains on our government and its clandestine services. But we've got to pick a starting point, and I am choosing the 1920s.
Okay.
So we are
1920s, an age of glitz and glamour. The Gilded Age, they refer to it as. Jazz, light bulbs.
30s? No, that is
For the flappers, right? Ladies dancing
that was the 20s.
provocatively. Yeah. Heroin was cruising through the streets of Los Angeles.
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi was just hitting the charts with his #1 hit single, I'm Steve Buscemi.
No.
Look at my mouth. Don't look at my mouth. So 1920s, we're post-World War I, and brain science is undergoing a bit of a boom, right? Mm-hmm. Not in terms of people like studying the brain, but everybody's been studying the brain for, a long time at this point, but just in terms of like legitimacy, in terms of sort of leaps and bounds of understanding what's going on in there and it being legitimate and not, phrenology. Kind of, sort of. I mean, not entirely, but Han Berger, for example, invented the EEG and discovered brainwaves in the 1920s. Mm-hmm. So he also thought he could unlock the secrets of telepathy by studying those brainwaves. So I guess you take the good with the crazy.
Did he not?
What?
Did he not unlock the secrets of telepathy?
Not yet. Still working on it.
It's only been 100 years.
Yeah, I mean,
things need time.
You got to put a lot of time in. Everything's got to be peer reviewed if you want it to be legitimate. You can't phone these things in. So during this same period, a doctor named Wilder Penfield was mapping and characterizing different groups of neural cells in the brain. And by the late 20s, he
I'm sorry, Wilder
Wilder Penfield. Yeah.
My name is Wilder Penfield.
Take off your pants.
I'm Dr. Wilder Penfield at your service.
So by the late 20s, he was learning how to use local anesthesia to be able to perform brain surgery on people while they were awake and alert.
Damn.
Yeah. More on
They're
on
awake, alert, and just going, oh!
Well, no, that could be.
Fucking face is contorting. Like,
Is it off? Is it still off? Can you put it on? Can you put it back on?
My brain, my brain, my brain.
the eyes are pointed 2 different ways.
My brain, my brain.
Back. More on Doc Wilder.
Shut up. I've given you a local anesthetic.
More on Doc Wilder later. We're not done with him. So all of this is undoubtedly an attempt to advance neurological science, and we have absolutely advanced our knowledge of how the brain works as a result of a lot of these big steps that were taken back in the 20s. But as we know, the military is always going to look for fucking wartime applications to any new knowledge that we gain as a species. And, you know, there was some eyebrow-raising stuff happening in the 1930s in Germany. You may or may not have heard.
They had like their style of dress.
Mm-hmm.
Music,
a lot of
the
Hugo
music
Boss.
was a lot of Hugo Boss was getting real big.
A lot of high-stepping.
Yeah,
A lot of high-stepping
dance
going on.
moves were getting very synchronized.
A lot of groups high-stepping down the street.
The shiny boot was a big fashion item that year.
So, and tiny mustaches.
Yes.
So the U.S. military is eyeballing all these advancements with some degree of interest. Like, okay, we're learning more stuff about the brain, and we'll get into some of the things that we discovered. Right?
Small digression. Do you think that if Hitler had branded, instead of Hitler Youth, if he had branded it like Hitler Kids with like an exclamation point, it might have gotten a little
Z
more
at the end.
a little more sympathetic, you know?
I don't know.
Kinder Hitler.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm at a loss. Enter our next doctor, Dr. Ewan Cameron. Dr. Cameron is a psychiatrist from Scotland. He went to school at University of Glasgow and University of London, so pretty well-respected places.
Uh-huh.
He begins his psychiatric training at a mental hospital in Glasgow, and from there he bounces around a bit, right? He goes to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. He goes to a psychiatric hospital in Zurich, Switzerland. He goes to Manitoba, Canada, Worcester, Mass. He's working in asylums and wards for this whole time. He's a psychiatrist, right?
Uh-huh.
And he sets up a lot of the models for psychiatric treatment in the places where he works. He is actually the first to set up, I think the first psychiatric day hospital in the United States was set up by Dr. Cameron. In other words, you weren't like committed to this psychiatric hospital or ward. You could come in and seek treatment during the day,
Just a
during
little
regular
crazy.
hours
Just a
and
little
leave.
crazy.
You could leave when you were done with your treatment and come back next week.
Is your kid crazy, but you don't have time to commit him full time? Bring him into the day clinic.
I guess so.
Enemas, shock therapy, beatings,
Mm-hmm.
clitoral stimulation.
That's how you get the bad humors
So
out.
you get the ghosts out of him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for all intents and purposes, he is good at his job, right? Psychiatric in the psychiatric treatment in the 30s going into the 40s was not exactly, I guess, effective would be a nice way of putting it. A nice way to describe psychiatric treatment in the 30s and 40s.
Whoa. What do you mean? They drain your blood. They cut a hole out of your skull.
Well, what I'm
Pump you
saying,
full of electricity.
Poke a fucking metal stick into your eye
And
and wick your brain around.
Yeah,
And then you were quiet after
Then
that.
he's good. And then you shut the fuck up. You just do the dishes and go,
what I'm saying is, I can't fault the dude for being shackled to the medical science of the times.
Choice words.
Yeah. For what it was at the time, he was good at his job, right? So by all the metrics of the time.
He could masturbate 8 patients in a day.
And still have time for golf. So, and by the way, we will have plenty of things to fault him with before long, but just keep Ewan Cameron in. I keep wanting to call him Ewan Cameron.
Ewan Cameron.
I'm Ewan Cameron. Just keep Dr. Cameron in your brain for a bit. So Dr. Cameron's take on human psychology, by the way, was that any mental disturbances or tendencies, any psychiatric diseases were somatic in nature. So that's to say they're a function of the body, not of the mind, right? The physical brain, not the psyche itself.
Interesting.
This was a school of thought at the time.
Honestly, it does kind of track because the idea of a working mind in general,
Mhm.
you'd figure if there's no trauma, brain
Right.
abnormalities, like just the basic theory of a human mind would,
the going theory now is that it's a bit of both.
right.
It's a bit of, underlying psychiatric shit, whether that's trauma or whether that's just the way you process
We all
things.
know the brain itself is just a gooey outer layer, and the mind is a glowing cube
Yeah.
that has some sort of God juice in it.
Yeah, so according to Cameron, we're not studying...
I'm a nurse.
He's a medical professional.
Exactly.
You've seen the cube.
Yeah.
You've cleaned the cube.
Yeah, we just
Seen the
take it out, kind of
cube.
wipe it off, little Windex. and
Yeah.
then we're
Yeah,
good.
the ammonia is good for it.
There's a little screaming child face inside of it.
Let me out. So yeah, according to Cameron, we are not studying the emotional processes that might underlie a psychiatric issue. His belief is that it's a product of the body and the direct result of the patient's biological structure. And so because of this, he's pretty strident as far as scientific method,
Mhm.
only quantifiable information. So his theory is that the physical brain hardwires psychiatric disorders, and that's what we need to study rather than sort of the difficult to find source of emotional disorders, right?
Mhm.
We need to figure out why this brain has this thing hardwired in, and that we can by doing that and studying the brain, yada yada yada, we get quantifiable information.
Right.
This is all hardwired, so we can use feedback loops and stuff like that to sort of figure this out.
Mhm.
Versus my dad used to get shithoused and beat our whole family with bricks. And that's maybe why I'm a little bit fucked up.
Obviously, your brain was damaged by the bricks.
So, it could be both. Probably is both.
Yeah, I'd like to say my own personal mental issues are probably associated with trauma, but I've also had quite a few head injuries. So who can say?
Like I said, the going school of thought is that it is a combination.
Mm-hmm.
So not only your sort of physiological, emotional shit growing up, but that can be exacerbated by getting the shit walloped out of you and having traumatic brain injuries.
Yeah.
Particularly in frontal cortex areas.
Mm-hmm.
So
I ate shit on a skateboard and smacked the ground pretty good and cracked my neck like a glow stick, and now I'm sad all the time.
Oh my God. And I want to eat frogs. I don't know why. Just every time I see a frog, I want to eat it.
Get this weird nipple compulsion now. It's flicking them all the time.
So yeah, so again, Cameron thinks all nature, little to no nurture. And as a result of this belief, Dr. Cameron starts to wonder if there isn't a possible way to manipulate the brain and understand better, possibly control its functions. So when he gets a call from Dr. Wilder Penfield in 1943, he sees an opportunity.
Cameron Penfield. I've got a new theory. We have to remove the brain, put it in a saline tank.
Stop milking clitorati and get over here.
Keep wanting to call him Peenfield, but I think that's just our branding. It gets me too.
Field.
Yeah.
So
Petey Vagine Field.
So Penfield has had a pretty baller career thus far as a neurosurgeon. Princeton University, Merton College in Oxford. He served in a military hospital in World War I. He was wounded when he was on a naval vessel that got torpedoed and sunk.
Damn.
He then went to Johns Hopkins, like I mentioned. He was chief surgeon at Brigham Hospital in Boston. Then he went back to Merton College for more studies. Then he studied in Germany. That's where he learned his little local anesthesia trick.
Uh-huh.
He was a surgeon at the Neurological Institute of New York, where he started doing surgeries to treat epilepsy. he meets David Rockefeller. And David
Lee Rockefeller.
David Lee Rockefeller. David Lee Rockefeller. David Rockefeller of Rockefeller family wants Penfield to establish an institute to study epilepsy, and he's going to allow him to do that by a pretty generous Rockefeller endowment. So, with that endowment, Penfield lands in Montreal, Canada. He is the city's first neurosurgeon, and he's working at Royal Victoria Hospital, and he's also teaching at McGill University in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
There, he co-founds and becomes director of the Montreal Neurological Institute and Hospital, right?
Uh-huh.
So about 8 to 9 years later, in 1943, that's when he's inviting Dr. Cameron to come up and direct the Allen Memorial Institute for Psychiatry, funded in large part with that same Rockefeller Foundation endowment, right? So McGill University, the Royal Victoria Hospital, those are going to come up numerous times in this story. All right, so we're in the early 40s, which means, we just hopped into World War II. While all of this is going on, President Roosevelt has signed a presidential military order establishing the Office of Strategic Services, as you may know it, the OSS. The OSS is essentially the beginning of what will become the CIA. That started in, I think, 41, when we went in, right when we entered World War II.
1941.
1941, yes.
Not the year 41.
The year
You
is
went way back.
41. Giants roam the earth.
BCE.
Bees are large.
Bees CE.
The bees.
There are warthogs with tusks. Man is on the run. I don't know. I don't know,
but I do like this sort of like prehistoric musical thing you got going on. It's 41 BCE. It's like not even that. Those full-on civilizations.
Not
all
even
over the
that
fucking place.
prehistoric. Yeah,
Like China's been rocking a long time. There are carts and palaces.
Oh my God. Okay. The man is on the run. Jesus Christ. So the OSS, like I said, beginning of what is going to become the CIA. And for the time being, this agency is run by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which, are like the top generals of each branch of the military.
Big stoners.
And they
Joint
are
Chiefs.
they are
I
charged.
got it.
That's a good I think, like what's that terrible band?
There's a lot of them.
The one
Hoobastank.
Hoobastank's got some stuff.
Some terrible stuff.
Fucking not Cottonmouth Kings. Slightly Stupid.
Yeah.
Joint Chiefs would be like Slightly Stupid adjacent.
Cotton Eye Joe.
They ain't bring the Cotton Eye Joe.
If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd be married a long time ago.
What?
That's what he says.
Well, where did he come from?
If it hadn't been for
Where did
Cotton
he
Eye
go?
Joe,
I thought you were getting into more like Patrick lore. Like what the fuck? The Cotton Eye Joe.
you knew a guy named Cotton Eye Joe? Holy
No,
shit!
I thought like the song came between you and like somebody.
You
Like
didn't
she really
recognize-
loved Cotton Eye Joe, and you're like, no,
I had to
that
fucking
sucks.
dump her, dude. She listened to Cotton Eye Joe 5 times
She
a
was
day.
fucking perfect. Otherwise, 10 out of 10.
I think I
Well,
just buy
Cotton-
earplugs at that point. No, the lyric is, if it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, everybody thinks it's just like, beat up a deep Cotton Eye Joe. And it's if
That's what I thought.
if
for
it hadn't
30
been
years
for
or whatever.
Cotton Eye Joe, I'd be married a long time ago. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did he come from? Cotton Eye Joe. So some guy named Cotton Eye Joe showed up, fucked up this dude's relationship, and he
Then
doesn't
split.
even know who this guy is or where he's from or where the fuck he went, presumably with this guy's woman.
What kind of nickname is Cotton
I was
Eye
just-
Joe?
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Does he like have like a
Dry eyes.
lacrimosal
He's got
problem? And
very
he's
dry
got a
eyes.
guess?
I don't know.
Or is he like constantly crying? And
You
he's like,
allergic
dabbing
to
his
cotton? He's got
eyes?
red eyes. Is he like stoned all the time? Has he got puffy? He's just got
Ah.
puffy eyes. You know?
I like to change that lyric. You know how I like to change song lyrics.
Maybe he's blind.
You know how I like to change song lyrics and just make them
Yeah.
overtly sexual.
Yeah, I do that when I'm driving around. Just give me any song, and I'll just sing "Dick and Balls" in place of the lyrics.
So I like to change that. Well, I always make it. I try to make it rhyme with the original lyric and make sense with the rest of the lyrics. So I just changed one thing in that whole chorus, which is I changed Cotton Eye Joe to Guys That I Blow.
Can we get an example, please?
I
I need to hear it in context.
If it hadn't been for guys that I blow, I'd be married a long time ago. Where did they come from? Where did they go? Where did they come from? Guys that I blow.
I just do
You're a poet.
like peenies. I just do peenie jokes, like like Pearl Jam's Even Flow. Wieners, penis and balls and sucking on a boner. Again.
Good. Once again. Okay, back to here. So, Joint Chiefs of Staff are running the OSS. That is the top.
Guys, I blow. Sorry.
That's the top generals of each branch of the military, and their job within the OSS is to coordinate espionage, propaganda, subversion, the fun stuff, and coordinate that across all the branches of the military, right? We've got all this shit under control. So this was primarily all for the war effort, and so it was dissolved immediately after the war ends in 45. Well, not dissolved.
Like kind of stored away, sort of pushed to the...
Well, it goes through a couple of iterations before it becomes the CIA proper in 1947.
I see.
So from 45 to 47, there was another name. It was some bullshit central directive, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember. It's the fucking CIA. Basically, from when it's the OSS to now, it's the CIA. So different names, same shady ass fucking business. Another thing that's happening concurrently with all this is, and this is all going to coincide here soon. This is something called the Macy Conferences. You ever heard of that? The Macy Conferences?
Is that Macy's, the department store?
No.
Is that Macy Gray?
Yes.
Okay.
Come to my conference.
She looks great.
Does she really? Good for her.
She's been around since the 40s. Never mind.
Oh, I thought she still looked great. I don't know. I haven't seen Macy Gray in forever.
She looks a little gray.
She just always had an afro and a big glasses, and I don't know what she looks like. Really, she can't really tell underneath all that.
Say goodbye and I choke. Try to walk away and I stumble. She's a Spider-Man too.
Is she?
Yeah.
Which one?
With the afro and the glasses.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire.
Is she the black lady with the
She's
afro and the
Dr.
glasses?
Octopus. No, she's doing a concert or something at the Give Spider-Man the Key to the City.
That's right. I remember. So, quick overview of the Macy Conferences. This is something that started in 1941.
Was that Spider-Man 3?
Might have been 3. I think it was 3.
Could have been 3.
Yeah. Macy Conferences started in 41. This is led by the Josiah Macy Jr. Foundation.
Say that 10 times fast.
Which, Josiah Macy Jr. Foundation.
I couldn't even get one.
The first one up. Wow.
So,
Josiah Macy Jr. Foundation. Josiah.
Yeah, you fucked it up too. Foundation.
What is it?
Foundation.
Josiah Macy Jr. Foundation.
Josiah Macy Jr. Foundation. Josiah Macy
Jr.
Fuck.
Foundation.
Yeah. I got through one.
So this is a philanthropic organization whose sole focus was to improve education in health, right? Their issue is basically there's too many branches of science and of medicine, and so many of them were sort of isolated in their own bubbles that if we held conferences multiple times a year, or at least once a year, where people at the top of their respective fields of science and medicine came together and collaborated with their field's individual breakthroughs, that collaboration ends up being better for health services as a whole, right? So rather than sort of being isolated in neuroscience or in psychiatry or in,
saying like
whatever.
These are all part of the same,
right?
Same tied in like
at the time.
Unified fields.
At the time, medicine and medical research and scientific fields had a tendency to just sort of stay in those in that bubble where they're just sort of in a feedback loop where they're not really paying attention to other breathroughs, and they're
sticking to their own lane. And
there are so many breathrougs going on at this time.
Orthopedists are like, everything wrong with the body is joint related.
Yeah. and urologists are.
Was the nose guy around this time? Who was that?
Who's the nose guy?
The nose boinking guy.
Oh, fucking nose boinking. Fucking.
I can't
You
remember.
fuck
Carl
your
Jung.
nose or whatever.
But no, Sigmund Freud.
It wasn't. It was one of Sigmund Freud's students. That was a Patreon episode.
That was a Patreon episode. Nose boinking. Yeah.
Nose boinking. Yeah.
No, it was nosology or nose. Yeah.
It's called nose boinking for those curious.
I think it was Freud.
What was
Freud is like, if I fuck your nose, you're gonna be good.
You'll sleep a little better if I fuck your nose. So anyway, yeah, their whole theory was if we get, because there's so many breakthroughs happening in this early 19th or early 20th century medicine and science, that their thought which I think is honestly solid, is if all these people collaborate together, there's got to be some overlap in all these different fields of medical research and science, right?
Mm.
And there is.
Yeah.
I mean,
That seems
we know
intrinsic
now.
to us
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
But at the time, it wasn't that way. So
Yeah.
Macy conferences were the start of bringing all these people together, all these super top scientists and doctors to just go over all these things, right? So, and this is kind of what Penfield and Cameron are starting to do in Montreal with a neurosurgeon inviting a psychiatrist to Montreal to collab on some work, right?
Mm.
So notably, Macy's cerebral inhibition meeting of 1942 brought together a long list of scientists and researchers and medical doctors to focus on the topics specifically of hypnotism and conditioned reflex.
Interesting.
This is their, I think, their second conference in 42. Right. And maybe you see where this is going because we're finally getting close to the crux of all this background. We've got all happening in pretty quick succession, large breakthroughs in medical science, particularly in neurology, a massive boost in funding by private foundations, a call for less disciplinary isolation in medical fields, and now conferences for interdisciplinary coordination and collaboration. We've got a new agency in the government focused on espionage and a pretty substantial war going on where you can fucking bet the OSS is aware of the fact that the Nazi Party is doing research in all kinds of wild shit to expand their war effort, right?
Right.
On top of they're doing scientific research on top of occult shit and mysticism, ancient religious relic shit, all the crazy stuff
Right.
that the Nazis, that we know that they were doing. They were doing experiments on twins to see if they could telepathically communicate.
Yeah, Joseph Mengelo's a whole big.
Yeah.
We bounced around the idea of doing Mengele as an episode, and I believe we decided not to because, holy fuck, that's ghoulish.
Yeah.
Some of the shit going on at the time was.
Yeah, that was a conversation we had pretty early on.
Yeah.
That, maybe put
in
that.
one of the early episodes, we talk about how we know the temperature that a human being dies from being boiled because of Joseph
because of him.
Mengele.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I mean, they did sterilization and fertility testing. They did experiments to see if people could regenerate bones and muscles and nerves. And
How did that go?
Not so good. They just chopped off a bunch of people's stuff and said, well, let's see if it regrows.
Yeah, give me a call.
No? Okay, well, I guess we just kill you now. So, and obviously they did extensive drug and disease testing, right? Important to note that most of this testing, if not all of this testing, was done on prisoners of war without any consent whatsoever. And a lot of the people that they did these experiments on died, right?
I'm going to need to have you fill out this form for consent to chop your leg off.
Yeah, right. But I mean, so if you're in the OSS and you're aware of all this crazy experimentation, and you're also watching the Germans developing at the time some of the best planes, best tanks, best submarines, best bombs, and they're using these things to slowly march through Europe, taking over entire countries as they go, it's maybe not hard to think, well, what if we did some of that stuff? Maybe there's something to it. So the OSS is watching these medical professionals unlocking these new mysteries of how humans work pretty fucking closely. This was sort of the most tricky part of this episode for me because all of this medical and psychology background stuff is important, but now we've got to jump into what was happening simultaneously with the American government as they're watching all of this go down, right? So
you guys think that we're going to develop AI humans with human physiology and then use them for medical experiments?
it's not difficult to imagine a reality where that happens.
Just a thought.
Couldn't you develop use that same principle and develop an AI model that doesn't involve a physical being or something?
Well,
but how are you going to study psychology?
Human physiology would be difficult. The way that I can imagine it going down is if you get a fresh cadaver donated to science.
Fresh.
And you bypass the brain somehow where you've got...
Brain.
Attach him to a computer.
Yeah.
Make him dance.
Where you've got a reactive...
Cut off his legs.
Yeah, where you've got a reactive AI that can tell you that's somehow linked into the neurons and stuff like that, the central nervous system of a fresh cadaver. that you could get some reaction from the AI when you do fucked up tests to this cadaver, which is fucking horrific. But I mean, I'd say that's still ethically not cool.
What if you grow like a human and give it an AI brain, but program the AI brain to be an asshole?
That's probably
It's like a dick. It's
feel like-
okay. Like
Then it's like, it's fine. This guy sucks.
Isn't that what Grok is?
Yes, fucking Mecha Hitler or whatever's going on there.
Yeah. Well, because when they originally put it out, you know, it was giving answers that the people of Twitter or whatever the fuck it is now didn't like. And so they took all that shit away, and then it immediately just started spewing anti-Semitic shit.
Yeah, because they took away all like the empathy and stuff that was programmed into it.
Yeah, just immediately started calling everyone the N-word. So yeah, you can make AI an asshole pretty simply, it seems like.
You know what, that would be cool actually. So like, imagine just digression, I know, but like,
No, you're good.
imagine like we create this hell where we just resurrect shitty people from the past as like AI robots so that we can do experiments on them. Like Hitler is just brought back with like Hitler's brain is put into a robot body.
More
or
of a
a grown flesh body.
You know, like those, what do they call them? Like smash rooms and stuff where you like pay $500 and you go and break a bunch of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, like a
my
rage room.
God.
That's where we're going to go. Where, you need to like let off some steam. Let's resurrect Hitler today and fuck him up or whoever, you know.
Carrot Top.
Not dead.
Yet.
Yet.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be, you know,
You can profit from it. You can be like, yeah, okay, yeah, you can take my brain and put it in a robot you want to murder, and it'll be a good bit.
Obviously, Hitler's body was never found, so we couldn't do that. But, you know, just some more recent.
You can just do some analysis, you know, some literary analysis, get the AI brain to do an amalgam,
That's true.
you know?
That's true. I guess. Who knows?
Who knows?
So, as World War II is wrapping up.
Beautiful future we have ahead of us.
God damn, I know it's the
There's
worst.
no future.
There's no future.
And England's dreaming.
No future. No future.
Pretty good, Johnny Rotten.
No future for you. So, as World War II is wrapping up.
I am an antichrist. I am an anarchist. The fuck? Right off the bat, flagship song, you suck.
Wait. He doesn't
Sex
just
Pistols.
say,
Sex Pistols.
I know, but he
Yeah.
doesn't just say Antichrist twice.
He says
no, anarchist.
I am the antichrist. I am an anarchist.
That's what he says?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know
bad.
That's fucking stupid.
Bad. They were on heroin.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he goes,
So, mid 40s, World War II wrapping up. We've talked about this before. Russia basically becomes our overnight enemy, right? There were niceties for a bit because, you know, in most people's opinions, even today, it would have been damn near impossible to win World War II, at least not on the timeline that we did, without the Russian military basically acting as cannon fodder.
Yep.
But
And the Night Witches.
And the Night Witch.
the Night Witches did some good work, and, you know, listen, Russia had more casualties from the war than any other country by a lot.
I just like the Night Witches.
I love the Night Witches. I would fucking hug every single one of them if I met them right now. So,
There's one, there's a group like that from the Sahara that I like a lot.
yeah.
The Sandwiches.
Stupid dick.
Should I cut his mic?
How did I not see that coming? Fuck you.
Nazi.
So,
Fuck.
how did I not see that coming? Okay. But, you know, so in light of all this shit, it's not a long-lasting peace before the Red Scare shit started and we are in full-blown Cold War mode, right? So like I said before, the OSS knows about German experimentation during the war. There were numerous biological and chemical tests done by the Nazis, and it's not really not well-known news. Anybody who's ever heard of the Nuremberg trials knows that basically all the atrocities of the Nazi party were laid out for everyone to see. Oh, by the way, our guy, Ewan Cameron,
Yeah.
he was one of the psychiatrists sent to Germany during the Nuremberg trials to analyze Rudolf Hess, and he diagnosed him as suffering from amnesia and hysteria when he committed a whole bunch of atrocities. Rudolf Hess was Hitler's deputy Führer. And he said he couldn't remember any of it. I don't know what. I don't remember.
know.
I don't remember at all. What's
9
going
years
on?
in there. I just
Yeah,
fucking
what's happening? I have no
blinked.
idea.
What is this place? What
Yeah.
am I in jail for?
Yes. Ewan Cameron said, "Yep," and cited some bullshit in the Journal of American Medical Association. And Hess later admitted that he made that shit up. So good job,
don't
Ewan
say.
Cameron.
Duh.
Yeah, no shit.
Fucking Dodoy. World War II, but the Jews.
I've always liked Jews. I don't know what happened. So it was a 9-year fugue state. What does Führer even mean? So in the aftermath of all this, we have got Operation Paperclip. Do you know Operation Paperclip? Yeah.
Yes, Operation Paperclip. If I remember correctly, just so everyone knows how smart I am, was a conjoined effort of multiple different American bureaucratic entities to ship the best and brightest of Nazi Germany over to the United States to work at our highest levels of government.
You're pretty smart. You know what I think of when I hear Paperclip?
Paper
Clippy
planes,
from Microsoft Works.
Paper planes by
That-
MIA.
No. I think of, do you remember the early YouTube video of the muffins guy?
What?
I don't think so.
Paperclip? No. All right.
Nope, got nothing.
Well,
No,
never
I
mind.
don't-
I'll fucking
I
cut
don't know.
this. If you guys don't know, nobody else does.
Leave it. Some people know, I'm sure, that are listening.
I'll show it to you. It was like one of the stupid ages of YouTube, a different kind of stupid age of YouTube.
Yeah, when
Right.
everything was like, wow, this is. It like literally it would just be like a banana that says banana, and everyone's like,
That is
this
hilarious.
That's
crazy.
golden age of comedy. It's like banana. I get it.
Yeah,
Peanut butter jelly time.
exactly.
The fuck
The
was
I'm
that?
a banana guy.
Peanut butter jelly. The I am a banana. That's Don Hertzfeld.
No,
That's
the
good
guy
stuff.
who's like, I'm a banana. Look at me move.
I don't know that one.
You
See,
don't know that
but
one?
yeah, see, I was just fucking throwing it down there. But yeah, dumb
It's just stupid video. Anyway, so
Do you remember the shoes guy?
shit.
yeah. Oh my God.
It's
shit.
the same guy. He did one
Shiz.
called Muffins. We'll look at it
Did
later.
you ever
These shoes
see?
cost
you-
$300.
You seen the music video for "Pork and Beans" by Weezer?
Yeah, he's in that.
He brings all of like the early YouTube.
Got like Tays on
dickheads
Days in there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a chocolate rain
Gotta
guy.
do something to make that song not the worst.
Honestly, yeah, it makes it better. Like the music video makes that song about 30 times
That
better.
song is
That's true.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music video makes it better.
Well,
It does. I can't help that.
The song is worth it with the music video.
It's like they did that cover of Africa by Toto,
Mm.
and the music video is just
Weird Al.
Weezer playing Africa by Toto, except Rivers Cuomo is played by Weird Al Yankovic.
oh yeah, that's right.
Instantly makes it so much better because watching UHF yesterday, I came to the realization that Weird Al Yankovic is 100% pure comedy. every single centimeter of him is hilarious.
Every centimeter.
He just does stuff. It's funny.
Okay, I'm good with it.
No real skill there. Just fucking pure comedy.
So yes,
You
Operation
ever think about
Paperclip.
what it would be like to fuck Weird Al? I bet it would
Oh
be-
my God.
I bet it
Be
would
funny.
be fucking hilarious. Slide whistles all over the place.
That's another Patreon callback.
gargling your balls like he did, and then it smells like Nirvana with the
Yeah,
marbles.
Oh my God. Okay,
Back
so
on topic.
so Operation Paperclip, by the way, was not just German soldiers. It was also
You'd be like,
Earth
look, my
scientists.
mustache grew back. Okay, I'm sorry. That's enough.
So Operation Paperclip was not just German
Patrick, can we
scientists.
please get back on
I'm
topic?
so sorry, guys. I apologize. I'm all over the place today. It was also Unit 731 in Japan, which was their military scientists, brought a bunch of those guys over too. And, you know, basically in lieu of trying them for war crimes, we said, come work for us. I know there were over 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and basically anybody who had any talent in a whole number of fields. And we brought them to the U.S. We employed them, even though a whole bunch of them were confirmed Nazis. And we just fudged some paperwork. And by the way, in a whole bunch of instances, these guys became U.S. military operatives working in clandestine services. And I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but they were doing a lot of the same fucked up shit for the U.S. that they were doing for World War II, you know, axis of evil powers, you know, both the Germans and they were going to like bases in West Germany. You know, so you don't have to ship them to the U.S.
Uh-huh.
We got a base in West Germany now, baby. Let's do some fucked up shit.
What are you guys doing? Some torturing? You doing some doing a little rapey torchy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got a good we got a department for that. We can hook you guys up. Benefits package.
Dental.
So yeah, the same things that they were doing for Nazi Germany that would have gotten them convicted of war crimes during the Nuremberg trials and locked up or executed, like a lot of those guys were. But the argument for doing this was that the Russians were doing the same thing after the war. So, do we put all of the smart war criminals in prison or kill them? Or do we let the sneaky commie Russians scoop all of them up? Or do we bring them here and reap the benefits? Those are our options.
Let me see. What would I choose? Okay, Nazis?
Kill them.
Yeah, I would say just put them. I'm not big on revenge. Just shoot them by the dumpster. Just fucking pop, 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 pop.
Well, yeah, a bunch of them were hung during the Nuremberg trials.
Yeah, exactly. Nice and easy. Boof. Just do that.
Yeah, like just immediately.
Yeah.
Bring out the gallows, hang them. But then crucial institutions like NASA don't exist. I mean, they feel a little bit icky as a result because they're full of fucking Nazi scientists. But it wouldn't exist. The Apollo mission would not have happened. Space race, we wouldn't have won the space race. If it wasn't for Operation Paperclip, we wouldn't have, you know about Werner von Braun. Yeah,
Werner von Braun is,
the father of rocket science.
Yes, it's super, super brilliant.
Also a former German SS.
Yes.
So,
do you ever
Jinkies.
Did you ever read the book or read the book Rocket Boys or see the movie October Sky with Jake Gyllenhaal?
No.
It's about these like New England boys in the 50s that are like obsessed with the space program, and Werner von Braun's like Jake Gyllenhaal's character who wrote the book. He's obsessed with Werner von Braun as like his hero. Not necessarily in a Nazi way, more in a rocket way. But like these New England high school students just developed this whole like system of creating rocket fuels and doing jet propulsion and all this shit. And they eventually get optioned and hired by NASA based on like these backwoods experiments they were doing. Is it New England? It could be like North Carolina.
Well, we've brought this up on several episodes. What can you achieve if you have no ethical boundaries?
Oh,
if you
so
just
much.
throw all the misery and whatever at anything that you want to achieve, you're going to make things happen faster.
Yeah.
If you have no regard for fucking other human beings and the collateral damage.
I haven't seen any evidence of that in the news lately.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that in certain aspects, Nazi scientists were pretty far ahead of U.S. scientists.
Also, they did magic.
What?
Nazis did magic, too.
Like
Hitler had a fucking
pull the scarf out of the sleeve and
whoa,
it's so long. Whoa.
Don't look at the train. Look over here. I got the disappearing mouse.
Wasn't he like way into that shit?
Yeah, Hitler was super into the occult and fucking Satanism and all kinds of
they
wild
did all
stuff.
kinds of crazy experiments to like old
Pseudoscience
religious
all over the place.
relic stuff. Yeah, a lot of crazy pseudoscience.
One of my
it's kind of
favorite-
funny that this is coming out after pseudoscience.
Right?
Yeah.
And last week was Tartaria, which I said was kind of funny. It was coming. We're kind of on a thing where
it's such a well-known thing that Hitler was so into the occult that the very successful comic book series and then movie series Hellboy is all based on that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Indiana
Hellboy
Jones.
was a demon brought forth from hell by
the Nazis.
scientists.
Yeah. Who was
and Indiana Jones all over the place.
Who was like, no, I don't like this Nazi stuff.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm
fuck these Nazis.
like a demon from the hell.
Is
it
just
going to
like,
walk up and be like, you guys are doing what? Fuck yeah.
The demon from hell like comes up, sees the Nazis, and goes, ugh,
Yeah.
gross. My favorite Nazi like pseudoscience experiment is that they would set up telescopes and look into the sky, thinking that if the Earth was concave instead of a sphere, like an outward sphere, it was concave, you'd be able to see troop movements in America. Like,
oh my god!
If you looked through space to the other side,
the
of the
other
big
side,
sphere,
yeah,
for the hollow Earth inverse theory,
concave Earth. I haven't heard
concave
that one.
Earth.
That's
a
a
good
new
one. Yeah, there's a whole in Florida actually.
I can't decide if that's more or less dumb than flat Earth.
It's because the idea would be gravity is centrifugal force.
Right. Yeah.
It's still dumb, but it's
still dumb
got
because
something
there is
to
still curvature. By the way, it's dumber than flat Earth because the curvature of the Earth disproves flat Earth pretty easily. Now you're going past flat and going to concave.
Yeah.
How do you account for that curvature?
You see, like you said, ships instead of going over the horizon would just go up.
Why is the ship going to the sky?
You cannot account for any of it in the 21st century, for
Right.
sure.
But Hitler gave it a shot. He's like, well, what if it's that? Set up some telescopes. I don't know.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
He threw a lot of stuff at the wall. Some
did.
stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
Mostly genocide. Mostly genocide is what stuck.
That stuck pretty.
But I feel like he threw genocide at the wall 4 or 5 times. He's like, hopefully this one
more
sticks.
than that. More than that. A few million.
No, I'm just saying, it's he had a bunch of ninja stars or pencils with words written on them, and he's chucking them to see which one sticks, and he's going to go with that idea.
And he's just nailing bullseye every time on
He's
genocide.
like, oh, genocide.
I'm getting tired of genocide, but
Nice
I guess
boots.
I hit it with the dots, so let's do more genocide.
Genocide, meth.
Little mustache.
Amphetamine.
Little mustache.
Okay, so by 1950, 5 years after World War II is wrapped up, Cold War is full swing, and we are fighting a proxy war with Russia in Korea, right? Korean War started 5 years after World War II. Alan Dulles, who is deputy director of the CIA at the time.
Is Dulles International Airport named after him?
Yes.
Hmm.
It might have been his brother. He had a brother who was Secretary of State at the time.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's a competitive family.
Alan Dulles is quoted as saying that the Koreans, the Russians, the Chinese, and all these communist countries are using the same methods that the Nazis were using to turn U.S. and U.K. POWs against their home countries, right? So they're using these crazy techniques. You know, it's been a continuation because the Russians scooped up a bunch of Nazi scientists too.
Yeah, well, how could you not?
Well, they did it by way of, Stalin saying
they scooped them up and they said, you are coming
saying
with us.
you can die in prison or we'll kill you in a fucking labor camp somewhere, or you can do some science for us. Pick one,
I mean, I would say that if you were going to run a gulag, like if you were like a Russian soldier, and you had to you're stationed in Siberia.
Gulag is just a
gulag.
Russian labor camp.
Yeah, also delicious soup with beans.
What?
It's goulash.
Goulash.
Sorry. But if you're gonna,
Also a boot you can wear in the rain.
galoshes?
You can walk through puddles.
Isn't that also that Hindu god with all the
Ganesha?
arms? Oh,
the
never mind.
elephant
Sorry.
guy?
Also, he was in our horror host episode, Goulardi.
Oh,
That was
Jesus.
it.
Okay.
Okay. Anyhow, if you were like a Russian soldier and you're stationed at some gulag and a bunch of people are working, I feel like if it's just like Russian citizens that are like suspected of being, subversive, you're like, oh, this kind of sucks. But if it's a bunch of Nazis, you're like, yeah, fuck these assholes.
Probably.
Work
especially-
fast, Devon Braun.
Especially something like 27 million Russians died during World War II. So that's a lot. That's like way more than every other country.
You will do better Nazi science.
So, like I said, Dulles is saying that there's basically been a continuation of these tests, and that the Russians, because they're allied with the Chinese and they're allied with the North Koreans, that these experiments never stopped, and these guys are getting some traction with this shit. And, this is a problem, right? We don't know how he came to this conclusion. It might have been because those countries were saying that they were achieving success in brainwashing allied POWs. They did send POW confessions and shit that, I think there were a bunch of American POWs that claimed in Korea, POWs in Korea, claimed that the U.S. was conducting germ warfare off the coast of the Korean Peninsula. And so Korea was sending this shit saying, look, these guys are, and by the way, after the Korean War ended and they began repatriating all the POWs, that was part of the armistice agreement. A decent amount of those POWs refused to come back home. So the Koreans are sending correspondence to the U.S. saying, look, we've got all this information from these guys. They have, turned against their home country. They are telling us all this wartime shit that you guys are doing. And so that might have been the reason why Alan Dulles was saying it. But also it could have been Dulles, fucking piece of shit that he was, laying it on thick to get a reaction from the American public. Because he was the director of the OSS. At this point, I think he's the deputy director of the CIA. And they were in charge of fucking wartime propaganda. So it's not a crazy conclusion to say, hey, he might have been, just kind of fluffing it a little bit to get people to, I don't know, pay attention. So, and all those POWs that admitted, or, that recanted their fucking citizenship and all the ones that came back, like pretty much immediately denounced those confessions and said we were being fucking tortured.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, and studies show that you can torture anybody and make them say anything. You ask the right questions, they'll say whatever you want.
Yeah, so we did
to
say
get the
satanic
torture to
panic.
stop.
Like, you ask a kid questions, they're going to give you answers.
Yeah. The psyche is not, I don't care how strong-willed you think you are not beyond fucking breaking. Nobody is.
No.
Anybody can break, some people more simply than others, but if you fucking have at 'em for long enough, anybody's going to tell you anything that you want to fucking hear.
It is far easier to die than it is to fucking stand under torture. That's why they give
Absolutely.
people cyanide capsules. Because they know, like, this person is loyal enough, they will kill themselves with poison.
Yeah, the fake tooth with the cyanide capsule in it.
But at a certain point, they're going to fucking tell them everything they want to know.
They're going to tell them, and by the way, it might not always be true. That's why torture is not a proven method of getting confessions from people, because at some point, they're going to tell you whatever the fuck you want to hear just to have it stop, even if it's only for a little while. Just fucking stop. I'll tell you whatever you want. So Dulles is obviously, he's bringing this up, and he's speaking out against these activities. You know, experimenting on human subjects without informed consent is big time against the Nuremberg codes, which America largely wrote. That was, most of that was our shit. And one of the big fucking things was, you got to tell people, like, we could do experiments. You got to fucking tell people, they have to agree to it.
Yeah.
You know, if we're doing the same shit, that makes us no better than Nazis.
Oh, that means that the Truman Show was against the Nuremberg trials.
Absolutely.
Nuremberg codes.
Yeah. So, by the way, Dulles was also planning, arguably already started, to hush do the same fucking shit. How do we know that? We know that because of Operation Sea Spray.
Operation Sea Spray.
Operation Sea Spray is a military test in the 1950s where a U.S. naval vessel for 6 days sprayed aerosolized Serratia marcescens and Bacillus globigii bacteria off the coast of San Francisco.
Oh, hell yeah.
For 6 days.
Turned everyone gay.
Yeah, it was all in the Castro district. It was all right there. Yeah, that was a thing that is confirmed. It's been declassified. This happened in 1950.
To what end?
They wanted to see how
bono.
They wanted to see how vulnerable a large coastal city would be to a biological weapon attack.
Wow. So they did a large biological weapon attack on a coastal city.
What better way to find out what's going to happen?
It's like, I wonder how people would react if I stabbed them. Only one way to find out.
Start stabbing. There are a couple of schools of thought here, right?
One is that that's stupid as fuck.
Well, on one hand, these are largely harmless bacteria, and there isn't really any other real-life option for testing the actual effects of a legitimate attack of this nature, other than to just do it.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like they're, creative thought, maybe brain exercises, maybe just be a little creative. Just to fucking, why don't you think tank it? Think tank it before you spray fucking all kinds of shit over a civilian populace in your own goddamn country.
Well, and like I said, there are a couple schools of thought. The other is, like we just pointed out, the Nuremberg codes expressly state that you cannot test chemicals or biologics on human test subjects without their consent.
Cool sci-fi concept. An island of criminals that are they stock up the island specifically just to do shit like that and test the
still ethically fucked.
Yeah, but cool
They'll
movie.
become like
movie idea.
I mean, if you
shit.
believe that cruel and unusual punishment isn't very okay.
I mean, fucking Hunger Games, man.
So, but I mean,
write a young adult novel with that shitty, easily poked through concept, and then
but how do you do this? Okay, because their thinking was, we spray these pretty innocuous bacteria for 6 days off the coast of a major city, and then we see how many people have this bacteria. And these aren't things that occur very naturally. So it would be strange for somebody to just naturally have these bacteria.
So they were just testing a cross-section of the city afterwards?
That's the thing I don't understand is, like, so if you look for informed consent, you announce to the whole city, hey, we're going to be spraying bacteria off the coast for 6 days. How many people leave the city? Now you've fucked your study.
I bet you I know how they did it. Free clinics.
Yeah.
You get government funding for free clinics. then you
Oh,
have-
there was funding for all this shit.
Yeah,
trust
exactly.
me.
I'm saying like if you fund the free clinic, then you can also just dictate the methodology of the treatment. So if the methodology also includes bacterial testing,
Yeah.
then there it is. So that I mean like because the populace is going to be outside as the homeless. You're fucking doing like free clinics, then run tests on the homeless coming through. That would be a great way to test cross sections in different parts of the city.
Or whomever. I mean, if you announce that you're going to be doing these free testing and stuff, and blood drawing or whatever, it could be a wartime effort. Hey, we need blood we're in Korea. Our boys need blood.
Do a blood drive in like a really hip part of the city and advertise a really cool T-shirt as a reward for giving blood, and then you'll get a lot. I did Elvis T-shirt one time at Graceland.
Yeah,
that's how they got me.
I really want that T-shirt.
I did. The T-shirts there, all like
is
50
it worth
bucks,
a pint of my
dude.
blood?
Fuck that. It was.
I'll grow more blood. By the way,
I'll grow more blood.
There were 11 hospitalizations and 1 death thought to have been a result of this, or at least these bacteria were a contributor. Right?
I thought you said it was innocuous.
But I mean, there's no way to know how any individual, certain people are sensitive to different fucking things. There's no way to know how every individual in a large city like San Francisco is going to react to even innocuous. Everything's got.
Sure.
There's an exception to every rule. There's still that small percentage of people who will react severely to these things.
Yeah.
For everything, it doesn't matter how innocuous it is. There's always going to be a cross section of the populace that don't react the way the majority do.
Probably just shouldn't spray shit on large swaths of people.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, germ warfare is bad.
I refer you back to the Nuremberg Codes. Geneva Convention, too.
Yeah, bad.
All that
bad,
shit that happened right after
World
War II.
Bad. Don't do that to people. Smallpox blankets aren't good.
Yeah, fuck off. By the way, this is not an isolated event. The Army also dispersed that same Serratia marcescens in Panama City and Key West, Florida in the 50s. They also dispersed zinc cadmium sulfide, which they knew at the time was a cancer-causing chemical, in Minnesota and some other Midwestern states there to see how far it would travel.
Some other Midwestern states there?
Over there by Minnesota, to see how far it would travel once it got into the atmosphere. The answer, by the way, is over 1,000 miles away in New York State.
Yes.
Once it got into the atmosphere, they tracked to see how far it would disperse. New York State.
Tight.
Over 1,000 miles, which would mean 1,000 miles in every direction. So over into Canada, south all the way, probably fucking past Missouri, west all the way out to what? Utah or further?
Wait, where you're saying if it was here?
If it's over 1,000 miles away in New York State.
Okay.
That's the epicenter is in Minnesota and wherever else there in the Midwest. So you've got 1,000 miles in every direction. That's the center. That's the radius there.
From Minnesota, that's the massive portion of the Canadian border, which by that exact token,
over in Manitoba,
that's a massive cross section of the entire Canadian populace. I mean, this majority of the Canadian populace would be infected.
I mean, it would be a decent amount
because they are mostly southern Canadians that live in the fucking country.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those northern states, they don't even have real names.
Like 98% of Canadians live along the American border.
100%.
Within 500 miles of
the
American
because
border.
north of there is fucking frozen-ass tundra.
No, exactly. Of necessity. I'm just saying, like, a bacterial attack like that coming out of fucking
that's
Minnesota,
that's why all the northern states in Canada just have weird names like North.
Yeah.
North of the Wall.
Area place.
Yeah.
Canada 2.
Placeburg. It's
big
fucking
tree.
crazy. There are people who live up there, which is insane, but I mean,
I sympathize with it.
It ain't many.
I would live up there. I would love to live up there. I would
could
absolutely fucking love to. If anyone's
fucking
listening,
north of the Arctic Circle,
anyone's listening and wants to give me roughly $1.5 million, you will never hear from me again. I will disappear into the frozen north, and that will be that. Thank you.
May I offer a counterpoint on that?
Sure.
I think most of the people are listening because they enjoy hearing you on this podcast.
I would like to think it's because they like me and they want to give me $1.5 million.
Yeah, but then
so that I can live.
But
my
that's
dreams.
Against their own interests if they like.
So I can live my dreams.
I'll find a new co-host. Fuck you. Get out of here. So all right, don't go. I like you.
Ooh, baby, please don't go.
So, by the way, Bacillus globigii was also released in New York, D.C., and the Pennsylvania Turnpike all the way well into the 60s. The military was conducting these experiments unbeknownst to the public. And they were doing this in New York subways, in DC airports, and Greyhound stations.
Was it just
Not
agents
fucking
like
cool.
walking around whistling and like dropping bacteria out of their pockets?
In the subway, you know what they were doing? They were filling up.
That wasn't a homeless guy jacking off. That was somebody fucking exuding fucking Johnny Galecki or whatever
They
you
were
said.
filling up light bulbs with the bacteria and then just dropping them in the subway.
Damn.
Yeah. And then seeing how far this shit traveled through the subway systems and how many people picked these bacteria up.
That's pretty wild.
Again, without anybody fucking knowing anything about it, which is just insane and not at all fucking cool.
I'm Googling these microbes that they released.
Oh, were you looking for the spelling on them?
What's the name of the goop?
No, I figured it out. The first one that
Serratia marcescens?
Yeah,
Marcescens?
that's interesting to me because it's often associated with like UTIs and like
Yes. By the way, so those 11 people who were hospitalized and the one death,
yeah.
the government was able to basically shirk responsibility by saying, well, they died from UTIs,
Which is what this fucking
which
causes.
is what it does.
Wow.
So
they-
it-
Which
they're
I
think
mean-
about dying from a UTI. Jesus
they were
Christ, I've
just
never had one,
spreading
but that sounds
fucking
horrible.
Dirty dick disease all over.
Basically,
Marcicans? Is
yeah,
that what it
yeah.
is?
Serratia
I don't know if it's a
marcescens or marcescens.
cephalosporin, which is like C. diff is a cephalosporin, but which is only really killed by bleach or UV light. Really notoriously hard to get rid of.
That's Bacillus globigii, or that was the
That's
Serratia
the
marcescens.
Serratia marcicans or whatever. It sounds like that one, the Serratia, is kind of like that. I haven't found if it's cephalosporins. They have like a hard outer shell. It makes it incredibly hard to get rid of.
Right.
So it sounds like that's
so it
what that
lasts
is.
for
Yeah.
It can live outside of a host for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And you got to like bleach every surface.
Right.
It's
You've got
gnarly.
other bacteria and viruses that if they're not inside of a host, then they can't live out in the
Yeah,
on
not
a
the
surface
case with,
for very long. Yeah.
not the case with. It sounds like this.
Hey folks, Future Drew here. Quick correction, which I realized after we recorded this I got wrong. What I was thinking of here is endospores. Cephalosporins are a class of antibiotics. Endospores are like a hard outer shell, which can be some microbes form. The overuse of cephalosporins can actually contribute to a patient contracting C. diff. So sorry about that.
Which was probably part of the reason they chose it.
Yeah, probably.
Honestly.
I mean, yeah, if they're spraying it out
Yeah,
in the
let's-
open air,
Let's
then,
spray
yeah.
something that's hardy enough to be on a surface for days, weeks, who knows,
Yeah.
And then see how people pick it up. See what happens.
Anyway.
So, did you look up Bacillus globigii?
Yeah, that one I don't see as much on. It's kind of
I call it,
its original and most prominent use is as a surrogate organism for pathogenic B. anthracis. Anthracis,
Huh.
which
What kills bees?
No, I think that's fucking anthrax.
What?
Bacillus anthracis is a gram-positive and rod-shaped bacterium that causes anthrax. So it's related to anthrax.
Anthrax?
Yikes.
like the
But-
villain from Osmosis Jones.
No, like the shitty 80s metal band or whatever.
One of the original 4 bands that started thrash metal, dude.
God damn it. All right. I'm really showing my ass today. I was not thinking of Anthrax. I think I was thinking of another shitty 80s hair band like Extreme or something. Sorry again.
I couldn't tell you an anthrax song.
Anthrax. Megadeth.
Megadeth's one.
That was that one. Well, I can do this. Slayer.
Slayer's one.
Hold on, let me get one more. Not Pantera.
No.
It's like southern hardcore. Hold on, okay, I can do this. One more. Okay, so I got
Good, because I
Anthrax,
don't remember
Megadeth.
the missing piece.
Megadeth, fucking Slayer, and.
Do you have it pulled up?
No, I'm still looking at Little Biggie. Okay.
And I know once I see it, I'll fucking.
Venom, maybe?
No.
Shit, this is pissing me the
All right,
fuck off.
Oh, god damn it.
What is it?
Fucking Metallica.
Oh, gross.
Oh, eh. Okay, to clarify a little bit, Bacillus globigii
Early Metallica was pretty fucking
That's true, that's
thrashy.
true.
is also known as the one that I was looking at, Bacillus atrophaeus. It's non-pathogenic, but it's a surrogate for Bacillus anthracis, which is fucking anthrax.
Right.
So the development of anthrax very well might have stemmed from this research.
No, anthrax existed before this, and I know that because of some other
Well,
fucked
maybe
up shit.
weaponizing it. I don't know.
Everything you said sounded like a dinosaur name. All right, moving on.
Okay, so just to be clear here and to be fucking fair,
Metallica was pretty good when Cliff Burton was still playing bass, and they started to fucking fall off a little bit after Ride the Lightning.
sure, we are not without our fair share of fucked up, ethically scandalous decision making from the top echelons of government here, right? As we discussed in the first portion of this episode, doctors and researchers are starting to unlock new neuroscience understanding and treatments, and a paranoid intelligence agency is watching these advancements closely in the context of what the Germans were doing just a few years ago and what the new communist threats that we are currently at war with are claiming that they are doing. Again, just for fucking context. And we're doing some fucked up shit in response, I guess. So in 1951, the Canadian Defense Research Board, the DRB, convenes a secret meeting in Montreal.
CDRB.
Well, it's the Canadian DRB, right? They convene a secret meeting in Montreal. Montreal, remember we were in Montreal earlier? Penfield and Cameron?
Yeah, I had a wonderful summer in Montreal one time.
So at the secret meeting, military officials from the UK, Canada, and a couple of officials from the CIA attend this secret meeting to discuss brainwashing techniques.
Hell yeah.
It's the 50s, man. The whole concept of like brainwashing and like, it was like a very...
Not that complicated. You open up the head,
and you
put
get
some
a little-
soap in there.
Yeah, Windex. Drew was
There
talking
you
about
go.
it
You
earlier.
got to take out the cube, gleam it, and then you throw it back in there.
Clean the cube. So, like I said, they're there to discuss brainwashing techniques. A doctor by the name of Donald O is his middle initial. He's not Donald O. Heb. He's Donald O. Heb, H-E-B-B. And he is the chief of DRB Behavioral Research. So, again, this Defense Research Board. And he is the chair of psychology at McGill University. Which
McGill University.
we brought up McGill, right? That's Penfield's, where Penfield was the first neurosurgeon and sets up the neuroscience department and all that shit, right?
Must have been like the Santa Fe University of the past.
So Dr. Heb has been doing some interesting experiments on extreme sensory deprivation.
Yeah.
And these military and CIA guys are real fucking interested in researching this for potential usage in special interrogations. I'm doing quotes. Which I think now we call enhanced interrogation.
Yeah,
right?
that's okay. Special enhanced. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
It means
It's where they put
fucking torture.
It's where they put the wood splinters over under your fingernails. And
Yeah,
they
yeah,
whip
yeah.
your balls. Yeah.
It's enhanced.
Yeah.
Enhance.
Enhance.
So
Enhance.
Dr.
Hold on.
Heb,
I want to ask though, extreme sensory deprivation, is that like using like suggestive stuff and then sensory deprivation, or is it just putting somebody in like a dark room for weeks, months at a time?
right now, they are just there to listen to Dr. Heb talk about his experiments on extreme sensory deprivation.
No, that's what I'm saying though. Like when he's those experiments, would it involve like, you know, like putting like an idea in somebody's head and then giving him sensory deprivation?
Not
or
yet.
like perhaps like a cursed artifact, like a ring, and then putting him in like a cave, and then
Yeah,
they just
the
like
skull of Montezuma.
Yeah, they just throw them. They just give them like a golden, like a magical golden ring, perhaps that like partially controls their mind, and then throwing them into a dark cave for ages and ages until one day a hobbit stumbles upon them, and they become like a totally different creature. The results of
Yes.
extreme sensory deprivation are nothing to joke about.
We haven't done
Not
a Lord
yet.
of the Rings cut in a
Not
while.
yet.
I don't understand the reference.
Whatever.
Can I tell you something just as a quick side note? And I hate that I'm taking time out of this very interesting episode to I almost texted you yesterday, because for those of you who are on our Patreon, we had an in-depth breakdown of the song Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne in this last week's episode.
Oh, dude, I found
And
an interesting factoid about. We'll talk about it later.
I was going to wait for this. So I had this in the barrel, but I'm just going to say it now. I'm just going to let everybody know. I had this in the barrel the next time Skater Boy came up. You are such a fan of comedy music, and I'm not
do love
necessarily.
comedy music, yeah.
I'm not necessarily that. So
I was actually just listening. Tom Lehrer died the other day. You familiar with Tom Lehrer?
no.
He was one of Dr. Demento's early guys
Oh,
from
okay.
the 50s and 60s.
Sure.
He wrote the song What a swell time it'll be, just my sweetheart and me as we poison the pigeons in the park.
I don't know that one.
It's classic.
So I was cooking enchiladas yesterday, and
Typical.
because my wife had listened to that Patreon episode in my presence, I had Skater Boy in my head. I turned it in as, again, like I said earlier, I like to change songs around to just suit my purposes. I changed the lyrics of it,
Bader Boy.
Potato Boy, where
That's some Weird Al shit.
That's some good Weird Al shit
where
right
it's
there.
all about Sam Gamgee not trusting Golem / Smeagol, and Smeagol ending up being the hero who saves Middle Earth.
Right.
Much like the ballerina who didn't like the Skater Boy, and then he ends up being famous and getting to fuck Avril Lavigne to slide whistles.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, like, she's making enchiladas. You know, my wife was listening to the episode, and I was like, honey, I bought a slide whistle.
No, he was a tater boy. And I'm just sitting there, I'm making enchiladas, and I'm like, peel 'em, boil 'em, put 'em in a stew. Could I make it any more obvious? He was a tater boy.
He was a potato boy. Say what's a taters boy.
He said, what's taters, boy? Anyway, fuck that, and we're going to get back on track. That's going to be in my head all fucking day now. God damn it. So,
What's taters, huh?
Should we do a
potatoes.
when we open up our music branch officially? Want to do a cover?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Comedy music. If we could open a branch of our
God damn it.
show and just do comedy music, I will be thrilled.
He was a tater boy. Okay, so
I've got a great Hall & Oates cover. It's you're a fish girl and
We talk
gone
about this.
too far.
okay, so at this special secret meeting at McGill University, was it at McGill University? I don't know that I have the location. Anyway, doesn't matter. It was in Montreal. Heb speaks at length about how, by quote, cutting off all sensory stimulation, the individual could be led into a situation whereby ideas, etc., might be implanted.
Like the cankerous worm of
So
suggestion from an evil ring.
you just leave somebody deprived of all senses for long enough, you can maybe implant some ideas into their
living on raw fish,
brain. So,
forgetting the sound of trees.
ironically, or actually probably not at all ironically, this is the same exact year that Dr. Penfield, Wilder Penfield, finishes conducting and publishes his research on the cortical homunculus.
Ooh, cortical homunculus. Good band name.
That is a good band name.
Do you know what the cortical homunculus is?
Hold on. I don't know, but I want to
Guess around a little bit.
cortical homunculus. No, I don't. I have no fucking idea.
It's a mapping of the brain and what each part of the brain, each of the cortices controls in the body. Basically, he performed enough experiments where he'd use local anesthetic on the subject's head to remove the top of the skull while they're awake and run low voltage electricity to stimulate individual cortices of the brain and find out what parts of the body they control.
Oh shit. So like feasibly,
There are videos of this.
feasibly. Ooh, I don't want to watch one of those. But so feasibly, like he could like have a device he could plug into somebody's brain that would like make them walk and move the way he wanted them to.
He would have
Like
a
a
little
fucking puppet, like a
he would have a
marionette
little
hat.
pen with low voltage electricity,
Little Penfield.
and he'd touch a part of the
Little
brain.
Penfield is what he called his dick.
He'd touch a part of the
Well,
brain.
Penfield.
Fucking Penfield. He'd touch a part of the brain,
With
and
his
their
dick.
Penfield would grow. No, he'd run a little bit of electricity. He'd go, okay, I'm gonna pick this spot and put that little pen there.
Yeah, stop hitting yourself. Stop
Put
hitting
that little
yourself.
thing, and then their hand would start doing this.
Yeah, he's jerking it. No, he's not jerking it. No, he's
Yeah,
jerking
their
it.
their fingers would start wiggling, and he'd go, okay, and he'd write that down, and then he'd go to a different place, and he did this with several patients. Important to note, again, most of these guys I'm talking about, with the exception of one that we're going to get into in part 2, had pretty solid careers. Penfield was pioneered epileptic surgery, like for people who were severe epileptics, and
like training people with epilepsy.
That's it.
Sorry, do I have epilepsy? Training people with epilepsy to do surgeries.
not necessarily no, opening up their skull and basically
Just
tweaking the area of the
Dicking
brain
with their brain.
that controlled that caused the seizures.
Epileptic surgeons. They're really fast.
Yeah, they got to do it quick, dude.
Isn't epileptic surgeons a part of a lyric of a Pavement song?
I don't know that one.
It is. Epileptic surgeons are like something with an itch they cannot scratch. No, that's architecture
Bro,
students.
nobody likes Pavement.
Fuck you, dude.
I like Pavement.
Architecture students are like something with an itch they cannot scratch.
You
But
don't
there
like-
is epileptic surgeon somewhere in that song.
You don't like Tom Waits, but you're a big Pavement guy.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
I like imagery
I don't need
evoked
my
by
life to make sense of
poetry
you.
said by an unorthodox lyricist.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Best Pavement lyric. You're just an extra in the background of the sequel to the movie adaptation of your
Of
life.
your life, yeah.
What
Shady
about
Lane.
the voice of Geddy Lee? Does it get
How
so
did
high?
it get so high? I wonder if he speaks like an ordinary guy.
I know him, and he does.
I know him, and he does. And you're my fact-checking cuz. So, yeah, he performed enough of these surgeries where he popped the fucking top off of someone's skull and went zerp, 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 zerp. Oh, that does a thing. That does a thing. Okay. And he mapped all this brain activity to different
Ladies
cortices.
and gentlemen, I've discovered how to make a person dance the Charleston with electrical impulses.
I mean, it sounds crazy, but those were the applications that the CIA was looking at. Was like, oh, we know what controls different things in the brain. We can control someone.
Yeah, you put a fucking electrical hat on them, and it doesn't matter how they feel about stuff. They got to do your bidding.
So with all this going on,
It's just like RoboCop.
the CIA decides after this meeting to create Project Artichoke. And really,
Not as good a name.
no.
Cortical homunculus is pretty good. Project Artichoke? I don't know.
Project Artichoke is designed to really figure out a number of ways that we can use this new understanding of neuroscience and psychology and maybe integrate it with some new things that we've learned about chemical intake and bacterial and viral pathology, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and utilize all these things to fucking benefit Uncle Sam, baby.
I got a heart, but the artichoke is the only thing girls want when I'm in there smoking.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
Are you going to
it's a-
clarify that reference?
Huh?
Are you going to clarify that reference?
Yeah, it's a Childish Gambino.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So
I got a heart, but the artichoke is the only thing girls want when I'm in there smoking like.
So quickly, just to get to Dr. Hebb's experiments, right? His initial sensory deprivation experiments were on rats, but 3 months after,
Like stool pigeons?
What?
Like dirty rats? You ratted me out.
oh, god damn it!
Now you're going to get the Heb treatment.
3 months after this meeting, Hebb received a special grant from the DRB, the Defense Research Board, right, to continue experiments to test a subject's 1, tolerance to perceptual isolation, 2, willingness to listen to distasteful, dull materials, 3, change of attitude, 4, impairment of intellectual function, and 5, hallucinations and other effects of sensory deprivation. So, to your point that you were asking earlier, that's starting to happen now, right? He just got big old nice chunk of money to do this shit. So Hebb basically intensified his research. He intensified his sensory isolation by having the subjects wear light diffusing goggles, earphones that constantly delivered white noise, and cardboard tubes over the forearms. I'm not entirely sure what that was for.
So they could be like robots. They're bleep, blorp,
I am a
bleep,
robot.
blop,
I am
bleep.
a robot. The silver lining here, I guess, is that all of these were willing participants who agreed to the terms of the experiment and could pull the cord at any fucking time they
Because
want.
he's just like, hey, you guys want to play robots? You give them sunglasses and headphones and tubes. And
at least for the time being, we are in the land of informed, at least partially informed consent on this, right? Hebb, however, was not prepared for the extreme hallucinations that people would experience. He likened it to akin to mescaline that people were getting after this, long periods of sensory deprivation. This is a quote from him. Some of them were seeing things in experimental conditions and feeling things. One felt his head was disconnected from his body. Another had 2 bodies.
Well, did by any chance his head get disconnected from his
No,
body and
no,
his
no,
body
no.
went over to the other guy and he's like, oh, we got
No,
2 bodies.
these are all experiments that he's doing all these at McGill University, right? So, and this all slowly started to wear on his conscience because a lot of these subjects were his students at McGill University. And, he knew, or at least he suspected at the time, that he was inflicting pretty fucking serious psychological damage on kids, on university students. So Out of 22 subjects, Hebb stated that, quote, 4 remarked spontaneously that being in the apparatus was a form of torture, and that, quote, it scared the hell out of us to see how completely dependent the mind is on a close connection with ordinary sensory environment and how disorganizing to be cut off from that support.
He didn't use any like chemical
Not yet.
like stuff.
Not yet.
Because this does smack of one guy we talked about, Timothy Leary.
Yeah.
Who would just use students at Harvard,
Yeah.
I believe it was, just
Yeah.
like willy-nilly for his own like
This is
weird
around the
experiments
time.
and caused heavy emotional and psychological trauma by giving 18-year-olds LSD for the first time. Without
This is
knowing what's going
around
on.
the same time. We are going to get, I think not until episode 2, the next one, we're going to get into the just copious amounts of LSD that was going around.
Yeah.
And Tim Leary was not funded
Yeah, he
or
wasn't
doing
he wasn't a
research
part
for the
of this,
CIA,
yeah.
but he was not the only person interested in how this affected people.
Which is probably how he was able to get all that funding from, because he wanted to research psilocybin really heavily with the guy whose name I can't remember, who eventually ended up being Ram Dass.
Right.
Yeah, they were researching psilocybin at Harvard together and giving it to students and coming up with interesting results, but they got a lot of funding for that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that was tied to the same people.
There's so many things are happening in conjunction with one another here that, I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, this thing just really starts to blow up. So, by the way, on the back of Hebb's experiments,
we
on
say
the back
explode here?
explode, sorry. On the back of Hebb's experiments, other medical researchers start conducting similar experiments at other schools and other research facilities, which included, by the way, the very recently federally established National Institute for Mental Health, which we've talked about NIM before, and the secret of. They did some real fucked up experiments too. So now we've got multiple test subjects being subjected to some top tier fucking psychological trauma for the sake of Project Artichoke, developing techniques to break down foreign adversaries. So this story breaks in, as far as Hebb is concerned, his experiments, the story breaks in 1954 after 4 of the volunteer students filed complaints that they had been tortured, and investigations found that at least 1 student suffered a complete breakdown and without any treatment from McGill had not recovered 4 years later, maybe even longer, because 4 years later was when the investigators lost contact with this person. That person might have stayed fucked up indefinitely, might have fucking killed themselves. We don't fucking know. They lost contact 4 years later. So Hebb had to admit that he had never screened any of these subjects on whether they had any types of quote unquote instability that would be exacerbated by the experiments.
Like, I don't know. That would have been good. If they were crazy already, them going crazier is fine.
So, and the DRB tried really hard to like fluff him up and cover up as much, sweep the rest of under the rug, but he ended up losing his research grant from the DRB.
When you say DRB, it makes me think Democratic Republic of Blongo.
But not to worry, he lost his research funding from the DRB. The CIA picked up the tab via a CIA Front Foundation. So Hebb was able to continue his research for a few more years. Also, by the way, just again, to keep things fully above board, most of Hebb's work as a neuropsychologist was positive. He has got an overwhelmingly positive legacy, but, this was a fucking dark stain on an otherwise pretty astonishing career. So what did the CIA learn from all of this bullshit?
Hold on. People will willingly walk into experimentation at the slightest behest of an authority figure.
Well, there was a report contracted that was turned into Demon in Human Skin Alan Dulles, and that found that Hebb's isolation paradigm was, quote,
Isolation Paradigm, good band name.
was, quote, the ideal way of breaking down a prisoner because it seems to create precisely the state that the interrogator desires, malleability and the desire to talk, with the added advantage that one can delude himself that he is using no force or coercion. Fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, so it's actually better for the interrogator, like emotionally, because they can be like, well, I didn't force him to do shit.
Yeah, I just put him in this tank for 5 days.
Played fucking Creed at him for...
God.
I was wondering what we meant by dull listening materials, or he said something
I said
like that.
white noise, but...
Gregorian chants, Enya. Just Return to Innocence on repeat.
Jesus Christ. So I think this is probably going to be a good pause point, because we've just finished basically the pure fuckery that it took to get to a point where we can pick up and pretty much exclusively focus on Project Artichoke, which will be quickly absorbed, by the way, into MK Ultra, which ran for 20 years. And it conducted 162 different sub-projects across 80 different institutions, all funded indirectly by the CIA.
I had no idea it lasted that long.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, MK,
From 53 to 73.
when you describe it like that, MK Ultra just reminds me of like the World Wrestling Federation.
I just think of Mortal Kombat.
Multiple different side projects, 20 ranging years.
Well, and if you consider that it started with Operation Bluebird, that then went to Project Artichoke, that then went to MK Ultra, I mean, this really started way earlier. It started in the 40s. It started before 53. It became MK Ultra officially in 53. So yeah, 20-something years of really trying, the purpose was to create a Manchurian candidate, destroy someone's brain, create enough amnesia, get enough where we could be coercive enough that someone would act against their own impulses, against their own ethics or ideals or whatever, and do whatever the fuck we wanted them to do. Really, when you get to the core of it, that's what it is.
Do you ever see The Manchurian Candidate, the movie?
No, I don't think I have.
The Denzel Washington one is pretty good, but
Yeah.
the original one is fucking chilling.
1960 something.
Yeah, it's like 67, 68.
By the way, this is all happening before the book released in 1959.
They have this fantastic sequence in the movie that I'll remember my entire life. I've always thought of it as like one of the creepiest sequences in movies, because the idea is that it's a political candidate that's been MK Ultra'd, right?
Yeah.
Which I guess is fucking the whole plan to eventually have so much power.
But the thing that's crazy is that I don't know what insight the author had. I can't remember the author's name, but this all started in, if we want to go back to, like I said, Project Bluebird, which turned into Project Artichoke, which eventually gets sort of, people say Project Artichoke turned into MK Ultra. That's not really accurate. MK Ultra just cast such a wide net that Project Artichoke was just sort of absorbed. It continued for a long time after that. But like I said, MK Ultra did 160 something different sub-projects that were all in some way designed to figure out how to control a human being, right? It's all about mind control.
In the movie, the sequence is several soldiers, like 10 soldiers, something in a room, sitting in chairs, and they're like, there's an instructor at the front of the room, and they're all talking and kind of laughing, and like they're cracking jokes. And the instructor's like, they're having a good time.
Yeah.
The instructor brings two of them up and is like talking to him regular, and then he's like, all right, now you strangle this one to death.
Right.
And the two soldiers, without hesitation, just like go for it.
Right.
But like even the one who's being strangled isn't like, oh no. He's
Right.
just like, okay, here we go. And fucking he strangles him to death right there.
Right. Jesus.
And then they just go about like their day.
But what I was going to say, what's crazy is I don't know what insight that author had, because this started like Manchurian Candidate, the book came out after Bluebird and Artichoke had already started. And MK Ultra wasn't really reported to the general public until the 70s.
So it ran long after the book was even released.
And a lot of it didn't really come out entirely until it was declassified in the 90s.
So the whole point of this, which we're going to get more into next week.
Big time. Next week is pretty much exclusively just this. I had to do all of the build up so that there was the
context.
really like to make sure that everybody understands the context. And so the amount of research that I've done on this right now is insane, just to get us to contextually to this point where now in part 2, we just focus entirely on the fuckery that was MK Ultra. So, but yeah, it's pretty wild shit, man.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. The writer's name was Richard Condon.
Mm-hmm.
He released Manchurian Candidate in 1959. Doesn't seem to have any real affiliation. Everything he wrote was like satire and some like frequently
Where
humorous.
the fuck did he get all of his info then?
I mean, it's kind of always been the case that this stuff's never really been secret.
Right.
It's like, people get out of the army and they're like, yeah, they were doing fucking crazy LSD experiments on my buddies. Like, coming out of Vietnam, there was all sorts of weird shit going on that people talk about with experimentations.
I can't wait to get into the LSD bits.
As much as secretive as like the thing was, it was also being fairly publicly performed as like scientific research.
I'm sure there were people who...
It's just like Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip wasn't classified. It was something that was happening that was just common knowledge for the most part, but people never really thought to look at.
Well, this is why I don't really believe in most conspiracy theories, because nobody can keep a secret. People aren't good at keeping secrets.
Yeah, it's like the September 11th conspiracy.
Everybody is going to say something at some point. Yeah, September 11th. How many people had to be in on that for it to be an inside job? Nobody had a deathbed confession, told their wife, their children, you know, and nobody cracked under the pressure of we killed thousands of people to have a war with Iraq over fucking either oil or,
You know what the real problem
George
was?
W. wanting to get back
Real
at
problem was
Saddam.
that they were housing all those goddamn fireworks in Building 7.
The real problem, you know who should have been there but wasn't?
Oh, hold on.
Who?
Was it Gerard Way
Oh,
from My Chemical
God
Romance?
God damn it, shut up.
Oh,
If-
Mark Wahlberg.
If he had been there,
If I'd been there,
If I had been there,
it would
would
have
have
been
blown the
different.
conspiracy wide open.
I would have taken over the plane.
Dude, there's a movie right there. Mark Wahlberg disrupts the 9/11 conspiracy.
I would
and
have
then he
taken over
becomes-
one of the
Tarantino
planes,
alternate
whichever
history.
plane I was on. I would have sewn a bunch of fucking parachutes for the people on the plane. I would have sent them out. Then I would have wrecked that plane into all the other planes.
Here's my pitch, okay?
Nobody dies.
Mark Wahlberg.
Other than the bad guys.
Mark Wahlberg, you know, he's only on one plane, of course. So he can only save one tower, right? But he does. Then he finds himself at the center. One, he's a hero, but he also finds himself at the center of this conspiracy because the American government wanted that plane to hit, right? So now he's got to go up against the U.S. government, eventually knocking out the president because shit's gone south. But he's a true American. He believes in Christ, so he's got to, you know,
Oh my God.
he's got to defend the American people against their own tyrannical government.
And then he runs for president, right?
Yes, he wins, and Mel Gibson is his vice president.
Yeah.
And then at the end, somebody calls him and says a code word and activates him because he's been MK Ultra the whole time.
The code word is Wahlburgers.
Tune in for the exciting
The
conclusion.
code, the
Next
code
week.
phrase is, "You can't be there." And he just goes into a trance.
Wow. But if I had been,
And then he punches the second tower down.
This has gone tits up.
this whole fucking thing
what?
has gone tits
What are you
up.
saying? All right, guys.
What are you saying there?
If you like this episode, the best way to tell us is to get on whatever you're listening to and give us 5 stars, leave us a review, leave us a comment on Spotify, send us a message if you want to say hello or if you want to suggest any topics for us to cover. Maybe there's something that you're like, hey, I wonder if these guys would do a good job with this thing. DeleteEverythingPodcast@gmail.com is where to reach out to us on that. And then if you want more, Patreon.com/DeleteEverythingPodcast is where to get another fucking 40 episodes, man, and new ones every week. Every single week you get more. What else? Instagram, yeah. You'll see photos of this and whatever else on Instagram.
Hey, if by any chance you guys are listening to us from the island of Guernsey in the English Channel, we appreciate you listening in. Please tell your friends on the islands of Herm and Sark.
And if you want some stickers, let us know. We'll send you some.
Yeah, fuck yeah. We'll send you a bunch. We could just take over Guernsey with these stickers.
Take a boat over to Sealand and just plaster them.
Actually, if you
Plaster 'em on
guys
Sealand.
if you guys in Guernsey are listening to us right now, please drop us a line because I'd love to come visit.
I don't know. So here's the context of that is that today we were looking at our downloads and there were some downloads from Guernsey, Guernsey. And I am pretty good at geography. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And so
It's
I
a-
said it to Riley and Drew
It turns out it's a British protectorate
Yeah.
island nation in the English
in the
Channel.
English Channel, just north of France. And then I looked to see what they downloaded, and it was micronations. And I was like, that's the one with Sealand. I wonder if they're close to Sealand. They're not. They're
I
like
gotta
200
say,
miles away.
Guernsey
but
looks cool as fuck.
It's supposed to be beautiful.
It's got a bunch of castles and shit.
Yeah, it's supposed to be gorgeous.
I want to go.
Let's go.
Give us, drop us a line there, Guernsey. Thanks.
And whenever we get $1.5 million from one of our listeners, we'll go. It'll
First-
be a stopover before you go live in the tundras.
First Guernsey, and then I'm fucking off to.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you next week with part 2 of this episode. Bye.
Bye.